Hello YouTube, Goddard Radio Moscow here again with another beer review for you as is usual. So for this one we're going to continue on with the Icelandic series of beer reviews, and we're going to return to a brewery that I've done 4 reviews from already. If you've been following my channel regularly you'll know who we're talking about, but these guys are from Akureyri in the north of Iceland. So we're going to return to Einstök Ölgerð and we're going to have a taste of the Icelandic Arctic Berry Ale, which is brewed, I believe it says, with bilberries and crowberry juice. Very nice beer. I've tried this one on tap in Reykjavik and it's really beautiful on tap, so I'm interested to see the difference between the can, and I probably will comment on that in the tasting section a little bit. But this brewery are very cool, and I have to say a big thank you to them for kind of helping spread the word about my channel. Every video I've sent them to of my reviews, they've shared it on, so a big thank you to the guys at Einstök Brewery for that. Very much appreciated. But as is usual then with my beer reviews, I will take you through a very brief history of the brewery. It's quite an interesting one this, so hopefully you'll want to stick with me for that. If you don't though, just fast forward a few minutes into the video and you will catch that. But as usual, the brewery website is in the video description, as is a link to my other Einstök beer reviews, and hopefully Einstök will be adding more beers in the future, so I'll get to do more Einstök reviews for you. So anyway, the company was founded in 2010 by Americans Bernard Labori, David Altshuler and Jack Sichterman, who are all self-confessed beer geeks. Jack actually used to work for Harley Davidson, while David is a lawyer, and I think he pretty much deals with the sort of legal aspects of the company. But the foundation of the brewery was the water in Iceland. It's one of the purest in the world due to the high magnesium and calcium content, and apparently this is the major selling point of the brewery. But the 3 men partnered up with Vilafel, a beverage bottler and distributor, and actually one of the most respected companies in Iceland apparently. But this company also owned the Viking Brewery in Akureyri, and you'll see these beers if you do go to Iceland and have a look at the things that are available there. And this was where the collaboration to create the Einstök Brewery began. Now Akureyri is just 60 miles south of the Arctic Circle, and it's a fishing port town. It's about 17,000 people there. Very beautiful. I went to visit it when I was there, and we stayed in a little cabin, and you know, it was fabulous. Iceland, definitely somewhere you need to visit before you die anyway. But the water in this area actually flows from rain and prehistoric glaciers down the Hlidafjall mountain, or Hlidafjall mountain, sorry, and through the lava fields, and apparently this is one of the purest water sources in the world. But the collaboration for the Einstök Brewery also includes Baldur Karason, and he was born in a small town called Siglafjordur, which we also visited when I was in Iceland, and this is also in the northern part, but he moved to Akureyri in 1981, and after completing his schooling education in the city he began to work for the Viking Brewery in quality control and food science, and it was there that he began to develop an interest in craft beer brewing. Now in 1993 he left Iceland to study in the prestigious brewing programme at Heriot-Watt University in Edinburgh in Scotland, and he became the first Icelander to graduate from this programme in 50 years. But upon his return to Iceland he became the head brewer at the Viking Brewery, where he has introduced several new recipes, and he's also increased the production of the brewery quite dramatically actually. But he's also worked closely with Löwenbräu in Germany and Carlsberg in Denmark, and also the Domens Institute in Germany. So he's advanced, and he has a pretty damn advanced knowledge of brewing, and that makes him the ideal head brewer for Einstök. Now, interestingly though, while the company is based in Iceland, their biggest market is actually California in the States, where the founders are based. But they've recently launched in Florida, and they have a fairly significant market in the UK, and I do believe they're actually starting to launch in the northeast of the States now. So I think New York and Pennsylvania is where they're starting to plant the seeds there, and I have seen them. I saw on Facebook a little while ago that they are starting to expand in Europe as well. I'm sure they're in the Nordic countries now, in the other Nordic countries, and also in Estonia. I'm sure I saw them say that they were starting to expand over there. But the marketing slogan in the USA for this beer is Drink, Conquer, Repeat, and they say that this is the battle cry for modern Vikings for the great adventure of ahead. And if you go through their Facebook page, it's quite interesting because you'll see they're really into their sort of Viking kind of traits and stuff like that. They really like the sort of Viking image that they've developed for the brewery. But just to list the other beers you can get from these guys, of course you get the white ale, the pale ale and the toasted porter. Those are the 3 regular ones, and all of those beers I'm pretty sure have won awards, and they're available with year-round availability. And at Christmas you do get the Doppelbock, which you know is a really beautiful beer. And as I said during the history part of the video, the main selling point of this brewery is the water, and all of the beers are essentially quite a unique take on very well established styles, and the beer, all of the beer you'll get from these guys is really good, and it is even better on tap, so hopefully that's a market they sort of expand into. But I'll just bring up the camera and we'll have a little look at the artwork on this one. This is actually the first canned beer review that I've done for you on my channel, so I'm hoping that you're enjoying it and it'll be a success. Maybe I'll do some more canned beer reviews for you in the future, but I'll just bring up the camera and let you have a quick little look at it, and I'll tell you a few things that you will find on the can here. So you can see here, this is the sort of traditional Icelandic the traditional Einstök kind of label art, if you like. The bottles are pretty similar to that. Obviously this guy is different because it's a can, and I've put a few things that I'll point out on here. In Icelandic, Ölgerð means brewery, Einstök means unique as well, Seframlider means sort of speciality brew, and you can just see in there you have the Akureyri, Iceland. That is the northern city in Iceland. I think it's the second city, 17,000 people, so it is the biggest one here. And up here beside the Viking you have, what is it, North 65 and West 18, and that's the shorthand. I'll just bring that up so you can see it. You can't see it too well, but that's the shorthand way of writing the coordinates for the Einstök brewery. The other thing that this one has that's quite interesting is it has a little spiel which the other ones don't really have. It says here, in Iceland, Sumadagurinn Fyrsti, which is the first day of summer, designates the arrival of warmer temperatures and abundant sunshine. At Einstök we're celebrating the summer with this limited edition Arctic Berry Ale, a refreshing wit beer flavoured with tasty bilberries handpicked near the Arctic Circle. It's the perfect ale for your summer adventures, but enjoy it while you can. It will disappear with the midnight sun. Directu Sigradu Endurtaktu, which I guess means drink, conquer, repeat. It's just in Icelandic this time, which is obviously because this is a beer that you can only get in Iceland, which is pretty cool. But I'll just kind of spin the can around and let you see that. Of course, that's the sort of typical Einstök one, and you can see it goes round. That's the little spiel that I just read to you, and this is a sort of bigger version of the Viking thing, and you can see there, that's the double battle axes, or the cross battle axes, is the typical artwork of the Einstök brewery. So let's get this guy open and we'll get on with the tasting here. This guy is a 5.2% fruit beer, which is pretty cool, and as I said to you, it's brewed with bilberries and crowberry juice. Bilberries and crowberries are both types of Arctic berries apparently. They're both quite dark, and apparently from what I read they're quite similar in character to blueberry and blackberry, and from what I remember of this beer when I tasted it on tap was that it's actually quite similar to some of these, the fruit flavour in it is quite similar to what you get from the Berry Company and a lot of their juices. Actually you do get some of those kind of unusual fruits in it, so perhaps the berries they use in it are actually in this beer, or some of them are bilberries and crowberries. So we'll get this guy open and get on with the tasting here. So I'll just bring up the camera and see that you can see this properly. So we'll get this guy out. Just try and pour it down the edges so I avoid getting too much of a head on it. There you are. So that's my first canned beer pour on my channel. Quite a momentous occasion, if you like, especially when it's Einstök, a brewery that I really do like. My only complaint about them just now is that they haven't done more beers for me to review at a later date, but fingers crossed that'll change. A brown ale and a red ale, please, Einstök. I'd really love to see you do that. But let's get this guy. I'll bring the light up and just check that you can have a look at it. Well, the thing I'm surprised at with this is that it's pretty much crystal clear. If I put my fingers behind that, albeit it's blurry, but you can see that this beer is pretty kind of clear. When you drink it on tap, it's very, very cloudy actually. But when it has a finger of a kind of frothy white head on it here, and I'm just really surprised at how clear that is, because when you pour it on the tap, as I say, it's the kind of colour you'd expect, but it's very kind of sedimenty and cloudy and stuff like that, which is quite cool. But you've got a nice kind of frothy white head on there. There's a stable kind of bit of carbonation just going up to the bottom of the head there, which is quite good. So it should be a fairly smooth beer, I think, this one. If it's anything like its kind of tap sister, if you like, it should be alright. But let's give it a smell and see how we get on here. So obviously you have a nice kind of quite fruity aroma. The one thing you will notice with this, I was thinking about this before I came on the video. I think the berries in this one, they actually smell a lot like the sort of I can't remember if it's blueberry or the blueberries variety juice that you get from the Berry Company. The berries that are in this, the bilberries and the crowberries, must be in that, because it smells almost exactly like that sort of that juice you get from the Berry Company. but it's beautiful. I mean, sorry, it is very very fruity, but you can still detect the kind of underlying sort of wheat character in this one here. You've got the really nice kind of fruity aromas. They're just beautiful. I mean, it has that kind of, as I say, it has that kind of juicy smell. I'm saying the blueberry mix juice that you get from the berry company. You can buy that quite widely in Iceland actually, which is what reminded me of it. But it's got this beautiful kind of quite unique fruity aroma to it, and it's got some. You can pick up there's a definite wheat presence under there. You can pick that up, but it's quite masked by the fruit. But you've got a good bit of bready malt, and it's kind of when you sugar it up, you start to get a bit more of that malt character out. You just get the sweetness at the very back of the nose. Then you're starting to get, just beyond that, you get a kind of waft of the nice kind of wheaty and bready characters. But let's give it a taste and see how we get on here. And it's a beautiful beer, so regardless of what I say in this review, definitely try it. What I will say, this version, the can version, is a lot more wheaty than the tap version. The tap version, you get a lot more of the wheat out. But it does have a really nice fruity freshness to it, and at the back of the tongue you're getting what you expect from the wheat beer. It's not all that similar, if you like, to the kind of to the wheat beer that you can buy from these guys. It does have a little bit of a difference to it. I think it's not quite as bready in that sense. I think the actual wheat beer they have is a little bit more bready than this, but the fruit in this one is quite mild compared to the tap version. And in honesty, that's quite surprising, because usually what I find with a lot of beers, you get a bit more malt character coming out when you have them on tap than you do in the cans and the bottles and stuff. So it's quite unusual that this one's the other way around. But yeah, you've got the really kind of nice, quite mild fruit actually. It definitely has the sort of blueberry flavours and things like that that blueberry juice, as I said, has. It definitely has just this really nice kind of fresh fruity character that comes up front. It's almost like a sort of candied fruit character, which is quite interesting. And it just sits there at the front of the mouth. You actually, interestingly with this beer, you don't have many flavours kind of coming right around the edge of the tongue. You have, at the front, you've got this nice fruity character, and at the back you're getting this bready kind of wheaty one. And in the aftertaste they actually do start to blend a little bit more. And when you first take it in, the fruit is only quite mild, and the sort of wheat part of the beer kind of dominates slightly, but it mixes a little bit more as you progressively get into this beer. But yeah, definitely at the front of the tongue you're getting this really nice kind of sort of, it's almost a mix between blueberries and blackberries actually. If you want to go down to the proper fruits, it's almost as a mix like that. And when I looked up what these berries were, they are just these little kind of really black blueberry looking things. They're just these little kind of spheres, single spheres they grow on these plants, but apparently they do have a lot of the same character as blueberries and blackberries, although the taste is slightly different. And of course you will get berries in Iceland that taste different just because of the volcanic soil and stuff like that, which is it's always an interesting thing actually when you think about it scientifically. But yeah, I would stick with that. You've got this nice sort of mix between blueberry and blackberry. There's a little bit of kind of reddish candied fruit there mixing in at the front of the tongue. Then at the back you have this, pretty much the wheaty character of the beer coming out. It's quite bready and quite wheaty, but it blends together nicely in the aftertaste. And you just get, the wheat becomes more mild in the aftertaste, and the beer starts to get fruity again. As I say though, with the taste of this one, it is actually quite different from the tap version. The tap version, from what I remember, has a lot more fruit presence in it. This guy, when you first take it in, has a good bit more kind of the wheaty character in this one dominates quite a bit more in the can version than it does in the tap version. So it's essentially, it's almost like drinking sort of two different types of the same, two yeah, two different kind of blends of the beer, if you like. It's almost as if the tap version has a hell of a lot more fruit kind of added to the brew than this one does, and I'm not sure if that's just the way they kind of condition the beer, or maybe this can is a little bit old or something like that. But the tap version of this one, as I say, it does have a hell of a lot more fruit character. But as I say, when you start with this beer, you get a little bit more wheat, and then the fruit flavours kind of come out and start to dominate a little bit more in the aftertaste. It's quite a simple tasting beer, this one. It's not so complex. The fruity character is a little bit, because you've got the blend of the two fruits. You've got a little bit of candied flavour to it, a little bit of blueberry and a little bit of blackberry, although to me, as I say, it reminds me of the sort of blueberry berry company juice that you get in Iceland. In terms of the mouthfeel though, this guy is definitely quite light bodied. It's quite nicely carbonated, and it's got a slightly oily feel to it as well. It's quite a simple mouthfeel. There's no dry character to it or much bitterness or anything. The fruit beer, as you expect, is more of a sweet beer. Not even cloying with this one. They do in both the tap version and the can version. They have the fruit content pretty well done, and it's not cloying as some of these kind of Belgian fruit beers can be. But overall, I would say it's a really it's a nicely sweet, quite sessionable beer, if you like. It's definitely one you can go into the pub and drink a few of. I mean, I did it in Reykjavik, and in honesty, I'm actually not a very great fan of fruit beers, but I do like this one because it has that kind of wheaty backbone to it, and they just put the fruit on top and blend it quite nicely together. So overall, I mean, this is a very, very unique beer that I would recommend you try should you get the chance in Iceland. Hopefully in the next year, when they introduce it into other markets, it will become a bit more widely available. It's definitely one you should try. I would highly recommend it. And try anything from Einstök. They're doing some really, really good beer. And as I always say in the videos that I do for them, their beer is pretty much a sort of unique take on a quite well established style, and it's mainly the water content, as they say, and that's their sort of branding of it. The water really does give you quite a unique kind of flavour in these very established styles. So they're a very, very cool brewery, and I highly recommend that you check them out. And there are other very, very good breweries coming out of Iceland as well, like Geiringer, the Borg Brugghus, and also Ölgerð. There's a lot of really good stuff coming out of Iceland, and Einstök are probably the ones that are most widely available at the moment, but the others will actually catch up to them, I think, at some stage, because the beer in Iceland is just excellent, and these guys pretty much are the ones who are kind of pushing that forward, which is very, very cool. So anyway, I've kind of rambled on here a little bit, but I hope you've enjoyed this review nonetheless. This will be my last Einstök beer review for quite a while, so Einstök, I demand, if you like, that you make a new beer for me to review at some stage in the future. A red ale or a brown ale would be awesome, or even a Scotch ale would be really cool to see from you. But hopefully you've enjoyed this beer review from the Ale Slinger of Aberdeen again, as they called me, and please let me know in the comment section your own thoughts on this beer if you do happen to have tried it. I've enjoyed the Einstök reviews, and please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff, comment below, and I will catch you soon with another Icelandic beer review. Cheers!